Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Frankfort Village Board. Tonight is Monday, November 7th, 2022, and we call this meeting to order, and we ask our clerk, Katie Schubert, to take the roll.
Mayor Ogle?
Here.
Trustee Ledden? Trustee Severia?
Here.
Trustee Farina?
Here.
Trustee Petro?
Here.
Trustee Borelli?
Here.
Trustee Rossi?
Here.
Attorney Lamore? Attorney Mahoney?
Here.
Chief Chalepis?
Here.
Village Administrator Pisha?
Here.
Assistant Administrator Barika?
Present.
And Clerk Schubert.
Thank you, clerk. Now, if everyone would stand with me, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda tonight is what's called unanimous consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine in nature and will be enacted in one single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. So at this point, I'm asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Farina, second Trustee Petro. All right, we will go through these items that are on here so that the people that are in the audience, those that might be watching at home or be following along later, will know what we're voting on. All these items are available on the village website, the packets, including the complete packet that the village board sees. So we'll go to our approval of the minutes. If there are no changes to that, then we will go to Trustee Savaria for the bills.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The bills this month were slightly higher than normal, totaling $3,600,590.78. This total was comprised of the general corporate fund at $501,574.62, motor fuel fund tax at $123,073.17, the capital development fund at $2,764,465.70, which was the bulk of this going to PT Farrow for our road maintenance project. And then the sewer and water operations and maintenance at $181,082.22. And finally, the sewer and water extension fund at $30,395.03. And that's my report.
Great, thank you, Trustee Savaria. Now we'll go to Trustee Farina for an item from the Historic Preservation Commission.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Ogle. The Historic Preservation Commission recommended establishing the first local residential landmark in the village of Frankfort at its October 19th, 2022 meeting. The preservation effort was initiated by the property owner, Judy Schultz, who submitted an application nominating the residents and other structures located on the property at 204 Hickory Street for designation as a landmark under the Historic Preservation Ordinance. At its October 19th, 2022 public hearing on the nomination, the Historic Preservation Commission determined 204 Hickory Street met the criteria necessary for designation as a landmark and forwarded a unanimous recommendation to the village board to designate the subject property as a local landmark. I know Judy's here with us today with her children. The motion before us this evening is to accept the Historic Preservation Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance designating the structures located on the property at 204 Hickory Street as a landmark under the provisions of the Historic Preservation Ordinance of the Village of Frankfort. And that is all, Mayor Ogle.
Thank you, Trustee Farina. Since this is a consent agenda, there is no discussion at this point on it, and we'll go to we have a motion and a second. We'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Severia? Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations. We will have public comment a little later if you'd like to come up and say something too. So, our next item that's on here is Plan Commission Report Summary. There are a couple things a little unusual about this. The Plan Commission vote on one of the variances failed by 1 to 3. And So in order to do that, we'll have to consider that one separately, and it requires a two-third vote of the trustees. The mayor does not vote in this particular instance. So the item that's on there, will go to trustee Rossi for the first motion.
Okay, we'll settle in. It's a long one, so be ready. The Plan Commission report summary. Plants, residents, multiple variances, 213 Nebraska Street ordinance. Homeowner Ron Plants proposes to construct an addition and demolish, rebuild the detached garage on his residential property located at 213 Nebraska Street. To accommodate the proposed improvements, Mr. Plants has requested the granting of the following variances. Front yard setback variance from 30 feet to 12 foot 7 inches. First floor building materials variance from masonry requirement to allow non-masonry siding. Rear yard setback variance from 10 feet to 5 foot 7 for an accessory building. Rear yard coverage variance from 30% to 32%. Lot coverage variance from 20% to 32.8%. Impervious lot coverage variance from 40% to 41.9%. Accessory building height variance from 15 feet to 20 feet 5.5 inches. The applicant also seeks approval of the preliminary and final plat of the Plants re-subdivision to combine two underlying lots. At the October 27, 2022 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission forwarded a split 3-to-1 vote for the front yard setback variance request. 6 unanimous 4-0 recommendations to the village board to grant the other related variances, and a unanimous 4-0 recommendation to approve the plat of re-subdivision. Before us, we have 3 motions tonight. The first motion before us is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting the following variances for the property located at 213 Nebraska Street. A front yard setback variance from 30 feet to 12 feet 7 inches. The second motion before us is a first floor building materials variance.
Trustee Rossi, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you there. We'll consider each of these individually.
Okay.
Right now. So we have a motion from trustee Rossi. Do we have a second on that first motion?
If we second, can we discuss, or?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
second.
So we have a motion and we have a second now by trustee Savaria. So at this point, we'll open this up for discussion. We're considering that first motion.
Sorry, just clarification on the vote there. You said it was passed 3-1, but that still requires a 2/3.
That's
It
correct.
didn't fail 1-3, it passed 3-1, but you're saying that's not enough to.
No,
get the-
it, because there wasn't, I think it still failed because there were only 3 commissioners there.
There were 4
There-
commissioners
there
there,
were
but
4
they
commissioners.
Well,
voted, but that's
four
not
with
enough to
more.
pass.
It required 4 affirmative votes. So in
Okay.
order for the board to overturn this, we require 4 affirmative trustee votes of the 6. So a
Thank
2/3 corporate,
Thanks for clarifying.
yes. So now we have a motion and a second. Trustee Savari, would you like to start with the discussion?
Yeah, I was actually at that Plan Commission meeting. It's a beautiful house, by the way, guys. It kind of hits every point that we want downtown. I think the sticking point was the porch being 12.7 off. I actually went downtown, and with the tape measure today, 112 Nebraska is just over 9 foot off the sidewalk. The other thing is, when we're on the Plan Commission, we're not allowed to really grant variances unless there's a land hardship. The Plances are not looking to move or tear down the house. If they were looking to tear down the house, they could move that house backwards, but that option's not there, right? And I think that if you take that porch off of that house, it changes the whole look of that house. And if you think of the, 1820s charm, that house meets it all the way. And that's kind of all I want to say.
Okay, thank you, Trustee. Trustee Farina.
No, I appreciate trustee Savaria's feedback and that he went out there and measured. We served on the Plan Commission, and he hit the points that we always looked at, so thank you.
Trustee Petro?
Mayor, I too was out there taking a look at it, and I think there's great account of the design guidelines, and downtown is a community of porches. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're encouraging porches. We're encouraging people to have the garages in the back and utilize the alleyway. And I appreciate the Plan Commission's, dedication to that variance of the setback. But to me, one of the distinguishing points here is that you're not tearing down. If it was a new construction and it's closer to the street, it appears to be much larger. But if this is not moving the foundation, it's a renovation. We do want to encourage renovations, and I think that that's where we do need to have a little bit of flexibility. So not moving the foundation, adding the porch really adds to the right design guidelines that we're looking for, and that's why I would be supportive of this variance.
Trustee Burley.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I was out there today too, measuring, and then I did sit through that Plan Commission meeting. It was interesting. It was great to hear the Plan Commissioner's discussion. I understand the chair's dissent. The concern that I heard was, Nebraska is the main thoroughfare into downtown, and then if a house starts to creep, and then this is the new precedent, and they get closer and closer. So I completely respect and understand that, and gave it some serious thought. But end of the day, you're saving an existing house and remodeling this whole house, and I think it's a huge improvement. And really, part of me was like, well, can we shrink the porch? But the reality is you can't, because if you shrink the porch, it's a raised porch, so you have to have a rail. And I measured my porch, which is a 6-foot porch, and it's small, and there's no rail. It's just one step. But if you start to shrink a porch down, it just doesn't become functional anymore. So it's not realistic. Really, the 12.7, I think that's just the minimum you can get. Either have the porch or you don't have the porch. In my opinion, we want the porch. We talk about porches in our downtown residential guidelines. And so for those reasons, I support the variances request. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Rossi.
Well, again, I was out there also today, so you guys must have thought it was a little strange, all these people in your yard. But I did. I actually did houses on either side across, and I just was still comfortable with the plan.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Rossi. Yes, and I also drove by there. I wasn't sure, based on where we'd at, if the mayor would be called upon to vote for this. I've always taken an approach that I like investment in our town, in our downtown. You're actually putting money into it instead of coming to us and saying, give me money. So I do appreciate that, and I won't be voting on this. At this point now, we have a motion and a second on this, and we will go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes?
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, motion carries. All right, Trustee Rossi, now the second
Okay,
section.
second motion before us is a first floor building materials variance to allow non-masonry siding, a rear yard setback variance from 10 feet to 5 foot 7 inches for an accessory building, a rear yard coverage variance from 30% to 32%, a lot coverage variance from 20% to 32.8%, an impervious lot variance coverage from 40% to 41.9%, and an accessory building garage height variance from 15 feet to 20 feet 5.5 inches to permit the construction of an addition to the single-family residence and demolish, rebuild the detached garage, all in accordance with the reviewed plans and public testimony.
Okay, so we have a motion by Trustee Rossi. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Savaria. Is there any discussion on this
I
additional motion?
just have one question, Mayor Ogle.
Yes.
It's really for staff. There was discussion about a discrepancy about plans and drainage. Is the drainage considered, Mike, and everything taken care of for stormwater runoff?
That's going to be as part of the permit review.
Okay, very good. That's it.
Okay, all right. Hearing no further discussion, we'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes?
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Rossi, the last
Okay.
one there.
Last motion, but not least.
Thank you.
Accept the Plan Commission's recommendation and approve the preliminary and final plat of the Plants re-subdivision prepared by Design Tech Engineering, Inc., dated 8/10/2022, in accordance with the reviewed plans and subject to any technical revisions prior to recording and conditioned upon final engineering approval.
Okay. So we have a motion, again, by Trustee Rossi. Do we have a second?
Second?
second by trustee Farina. All right, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we will go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the final vote on this one.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations. Look forward to this beautiful home in addition to Frankfort. Thank you. Next item that is on here is a change to the liquor licensing here. In my capacity as the liquor commissioner, I entertain a motion from the floor to adopt an amendment to the liquor ordinance authorizing a reduction in the number of Class F2 licenses, which are grocery stores, from 3 down to 2, which reflects the closing of the Butera market. The motion is actually to waive the first and second readings, pass an ordinance amending the Village of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Chapter 113, intoxicating liquor, to reduce the number of Class F2 liquor licenses from 3 to 2. Can I get that motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Farina, second by trustee Petro. Is there any discussion on this? And we'll go again to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Our leaf pickup program began on October 17th, and it will continue until November 28th. There's one final branch collection, which is also scheduled, and that's scheduled for the week of November 28th. Veterans Day is coming up, and the Hickory Creek Middle School Band and Orchestra will present its annual Veterans Day concert on Thursday, November 10th. The concert begins at 6 p.m. at Hickory Creek Middle School, which is located at 22150 116th Avenue, which is Laraway and 116th, and is free to the public. It's actually a really good concert. I'll be narrating the Veterans Day portion of the concert. Veterans are certainly encouraged to attend, and this is also a great chance to see the amazing music program that they have there too. And that program is led into this Lincoln Way Marching Band, which is marching to I think a state notoriety and amazing. They're just amazing to see them. So we also have a save the date. We have our Shop Small Business Saturday event that's coming up. The Frankfort Historic Business Association will once again have specials for the Shop Small Business Saturday, and that event is scheduled for Saturday, November 26th. This is a national event, and it recognizes small businesses and encourages customers to shop at their small businesses throughout their community. We have lots of small business all throughout the Village of Frankfort, not just in the downtown. Our Frankfort Country Market concluded on Sunday, October 30th. It was a tremendous year, and it was great. We're looking forward already to it coming back next year, and we're heading into the cold weather, but the warm weather will be right around the corner. I want to thank all the residents that have brought their excess candy to the village. The mayor's office is starting to pile up with lots of candy, which we'll take in for another day or two here, and then we'll start delivering it out to Mantino Veterans Home, some other veterans organizations, our Will County Children's Advocacy Center, and as well as Crisis Suburbia. If anybody had some other groups that were interested or that could take in some candy, please just send us an email here, and we'll be happy to do that as well. Our trunk or treat was a tremendous success. The chief will talk about that in just a minute, but also on the 22nd of October, we had our inaugural Scary at the Prairie, which was a 5K costumed race, and it was for all ages, a run walk, and we also had a 100-yard dash as well as a 1 mile for some of the younger folks. About 90% of the people showed up in costume, and we had more than 300 people participate for the very first time that we did this. So it was a great event and a great family-friendly event. One last thing is tomorrow is Election Day. If you haven't already voted, this is a polling place here. We encourage you to get out and use your civic duty and vote tomorrow. That's all I have tonight for the mayor's report, and we will go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for board comments.
Thank you. So over the last 2 weeks, we had early voting here at Village Hall, and we had over 1,200 residents come through and take advantage of early voting. So thanks to Teresa, Sue, Marina, and Heather, who were doing the bulk of the work to make sure all of those residents were able to do that. And as the mayor said, polls open tomorrow 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you don't know where your polling place is, you can look at willcountyclerk.gov. And that's all I had today.
Thank you, Clerk. Trustee Sfaria.
Happy belated birthday, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim.
And then I'd just like to wish all my fellow veterans happy Veterans Day coming up.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Farina.
Thank you, Mayor Ogle. I too would like to acknowledge the veterans who served. Trustee Severia, he served in the United States Air Force, so thank you for your service. My grandfather, my father, my father-in-law have all served this nation, so thanks to them and their sacrifice. I want to acknowledge Scary on the Prairie and our staff, Sue Lynchy, who did an excellent job organizing it, and I know we had a lot of staff there that day who helped out and everything. I know there was a special someone who won the 5K too, but I'll let the chief talk about that. Also, I wanted to acknowledge Officers Scanberg and Officer Thompson for their work on Trunk or Treat. It was a huge success. I know, Chief, you're going to definitely talk about that too. And I look forward to Coffee with a Cop this Wednesday at Speedway on LaGrange and Laraway, correct? Excellent. I'll see you there. That's it,
All
Mayor.
right, thank you. Trustee Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, congratulations to Judy Schultz and the Historic Preservation Commission on the first home nomination. That's very exciting. I know that they have been working diligently to not only have St. Peter's dedication, but now a first home. Happen to live right around the corner and get to admire the home frequently. I too just wanted to recognize Teresa and our staff at the village that helped support the early voting. I know that that takes some, shifting of resources here at the village, and I came through. It was really well run, and even on Halloween in costume. So thank you to them. The Spooky Run, great success. My kids really, really enjoyed it, and great to have some different events where they're able to do smaller times than just the 5K. So I think that was a great addition to our community events. Certainly want to wish all of the veterans a happy Veterans Day. My grandfather served, 92, still living in Frankfort here. And Jean, thank you for your service, as well as all of our veterans. Enjoy the many events that are hosted at our schools. They do a really nice job of, bringing the kids involved and thanking our veterans. And last, just make sure that we get out there and vote. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Burley.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy Veterans Day to all our veterans out there. Thank you, Trustee Sferia, for your service. And definitely get out there and exercise your right to vote tomorrow. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Rossi.
The last thank you to all our veterans for the evening. We appreciate it. I have a whole bunch of family members who are all veterans, and we all appreciate what they did, Gene. Also, Trunk or Treat, I don't want to steal thunder, but it was tremendous. The turnout, the amount of cars involved, the amount of people involved, it was great. The police did an incredible job keeping it moving and keeping it going. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rossi. Now we'll go to our village administrator, Rob Pisha.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also want to recognize Veterans Day and thank all those for service. Trustee Savari, thank you for your service to our country. Also remind residents that the Village Hall will be closed in honor of Veterans Day on Friday. Also want to let people know that ComEd will be in the area in December trimming trees. They'll be along Route 45, also on Route 30, and then up around the St. Francis Road area. I always want to remind people about the tree trimming because it let people know it isn't the village doing the tree trimming. We don't trim the trees like that, but they trim them around the wires. There isn't any thought to the aesthetics. It's all about the safety and keeping our power on. So just want people to know that initially it looks really bad when they trim the trees, but it's done with a methodology, again, to keep the lights on. And then finally, also want to recognize the Scary on the Prairie winner. I don't know if anybody had a chance to see, but there was a 10-year-old that outpaced all of the other runners to finish first. So one of our very own Chief Chalepis' son, Weston, actually did a great job and finished first out of everybody. So he was really blazing a trail. And the running joke was they couldn't keep up with the kid in the pink socks. And the thing is, he probably would have finished faster, but he was told to kind of pace himself with the people there, and he's like, well, they weren't running fast enough, so I had to slow down. So great feat by one of our very own, so that's really impressive, so. And that's all, end of my report.
Thank you, Rob. Now we'll go to our chief for the police department report.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, you all are going to make his head even bigger than it is, so thank you for the acknowledgement. He was super excited. It was his first 5K, so thank you for that. Also, thank you for everyone that attended our safety trunk or treat, all the businesses and organizations that came and provided candy and a decorated trunk, everyone. It was just a beautiful day. So we had great weather, tons of attendees. Officer Scamberg and Officer Thompson did do an amazing job, so we're grateful that everything worked out so well, and thank you for the support. We do have our Coffee with the Cop coming up this Wednesday, November 9th, at the Speedway located at 22310 South LaGrange, so it is at LaGrange and Laraway. That event will be from 9:30 to 11, so we invite everyone to come out and join us for a cup of coffee, some conversation. If you have any questions, we will be there and hope to have a lot of participants join us. We would like to remind everybody to always lock car doors, remove valuables from plain view, and never leave your key or key fobs inside of your vehicle. And I know we said no more veterans, but I'm a huge supporter of veterans, so happy Veterans Day to everyone. Thank you for your service. Trustee Zavaria, thank you for your service. We have a few officers that are veterans, so we thank them for their service in the military and their continued service in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And now we'll go to our attorneys for the attorney's report.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you. Was there any other business for tonight? Okay.
I know we just mentioned the last leaf and branch pickup day, which is obviously a huge hit with all of our residents. I know we've talked a little bit about like the snow tracker or letting people know what streets they're gonna be at, and maybe that's something that we could bring up at an additional committee of the whole, but kind of a street tracker for some of this as people are trying to get ahead of when to make sure they get their leaves down there to be picked up. The other thing I had was there's been quite a bit of activity with Borg Warner just lately, so I was wondering if there was any updates on that or if we've received any new information.
We have not received any information from anyone about what's going on with Borg Warner. Like you said, you've heard, rumors that there may be something pending, but we have not heard anything yet.
There's been like trucks out there and stuff today, I don't know, so haven't heard anything?
Still have not, they haven't contacted us.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's on the temporary vestibules. I know it came up about a month ago. I think it was outside of OPA. I noticed it's still there, so I don't know if we're going to allow them or if we're going to discuss them, but it's... Okay.
They need to remove it. And the next step would be potential enforcement action on if it doesn't get removed. So I know there's potential that they want to make an appeal to try to talk about having those kind of things, but staff right now is working to have it removed.
Thank you.
We could discuss that further on Wednesday if you'd like. Trustee Rowley?
Yeah, I mean, right now
At our
it's out of
committee level.
compliance, right? But if we want to talk about amending
Sure.
revisiting the ordinance, I'm happy to do so.
Right. Okay, we can add that to other business at committee of the whole on Wednesday. Any other tonight? Okay. So we can move to the section called public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a comment before the village board tonight? Please, come on up.
Hi there. My name is Sharon Wallace. I reached out to you guys on 10/27 about the code violation against USDA farm number 12655 that I received from the village of Frankfort for having chickens. I received a call from Adam on 10/27. It's been 12 days now, and I haven't heard a word. So I'm just wondering if you guys can help me, who can help me, because, obviously I have a farm, and you guys, the village back in 1989 changed it to estate residential, but this property has been non-conforming probably since 1875 when it was built, and has always been agricultural use. Your current land use also shows agricultural use, and it has been non-conforming since before 1989. It was also, I'm sorry, I hate public speaking. It was also unincorporated Will County until approximately 2009. No idea. All I know is garbage cans were dumped off there in 2009, so I know it became incorporated sometime in that. But, you know, I'm just basically sitting here in limbo on, you know, what's going on with my property and, you know, my farm.
Thank you. Those sort of questions, we should speak with our village administrator, and he can get you that information.
Okay. Well, I've reached out to code enforcement, and they're not returning my calls. So you're saying I should contact the village administrator?
Actually, if we get information over,
Yeah, I can let you know, like I said, that our attorneys are reviewing the annexation agreement that with major property subject when it came in the 90s with Presswick, so they're reviewing it to determine the legal nonconformance and how that applies to the fact of whether it was a farm before and it was in Will County, it was zoned agricultural. So they're looking at the change in zoning and how it affects the ability to have livestock. So our attorneys are reviewing it.
Okay. And how long am I going to be waiting till December 28th when it's the last day?
I'm sorry?
At what point am I going to hear back? Because my deadline date is December 28th when you guys start fining me $750.
We are not going to fine you while it's being leased, so there's been a stay on that. That's
Okay.
what, when Mr. Nielsen contacted you, that's what he's saying. He's just like, it's in abeyance now until we get a legal review on that.
Okay.
So
So how long?
You don't have to worry on the 28th that we're going to start enforcing it. It's right now, until we have the legal review, then we'll contact you once we have that finding.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else want to make a comment before the board tonight? Okay. Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.